Hey everybody, and welcome to my reviews of two Mega Pokemon sets. Today we're going to be taking a look at Zubat's Midnight Flight on the left and Piplup and Sneasel's Snow Day on the right. And the reason why I wanted to review both of these sets at the same time is they can actually combine, but we'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to go ahead and start by taking a look at the Pokemon that come in these sets, and we're going to start with Zubat here. I do like the overall shape of Zubat. I think Mega did a good job capturing the overall look and design of the Pokemon, but I do feel like it is just a little bit too big when compared to the Pokemon in the anime and video games. I don't want to consider this a negative though, because if Mega made him any smaller, Zubat would probably lose some of its detail. Zubat does come with a pretty fair bit of articulation. His wings are on ball joints so they can be moved inward and outward. This will allow you to put Zubat in some poses to make it look like he is flying or flapping his wings. The head of Zubat is also on a ball joint, which allows the head to be rotated up and down and side to side. Which is interesting to me because Zubat typically doesn't have a neck. Zubat's ears also have a little bit of articulation, and one of the things that I want to point out about this is if I move him closer, you can see that there's actually a little bit of purple printing inside of the ears. It's a nice little bit of detail that I appreciate and is accurate to the Pokemon's design. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at the Pokemon Piplup, and overall I really do like the design of Piplup here. I do feel like the overall shape and design of Piplup is good enough for what it's trying to represent. I do like the rubber piece that comes down over Piplup's back. It's accurate to the Pokemon's design, and I think it's executed well. As we continue to spin Piplup around to the front, you can see it's also got some relatively good printing. One of the things that I'm finding consistently accurate with these Mega Pokemon are their face prints. I think a lot of them are very well done and very accurate to what the Pokemon looks like. Piplup also has a little bit of printing there on its chest. The only thing that I wish would have been different with Piplup's design is maybe have a little bit of printing on the beak to represent a mouth. Without that detail, to me it looks like a carrot nose on a snowman. Piplup does come with some pretty solid articulation. The head is on a ball joint, which of course allows it to move side to side and up and down. If we take Piplup and turn it to the side here, you can see there's also some articulation in its flippers. These are not on ball joints, so they can only be moved up and down. Lastly, the feet of Piplup are able to be moved outward and inward. So overall, you're able to get Piplup into some pretty cute poses. The last Pokemon we're taking a look at is Sneasel, which when I first saw its design on the box, I wasn't really sure how I would feel about it, but now that I've seen it in person, I actually don't necessarily hate it. There are some parts of its design that I think are a little weird, like the tail back here, which is made up of 3 pieces stacked on top of each other, and when you look at Sneasel from the side, it can look a little too long and bulky, and awkward. The other thing that kind of bothers me about Sneasel is I do feel like its body's a little too long. But other than those two things, and I don't think they're necessarily a deal breaker, I do like Sneasel. And it's also got a lot of printed detail on it, which of course is always good to see. Just like Piplup, Sneasel's head is on a ball joint, which allows for the same articulation of being moved side to side and up and down. The plus side to Sneasel having a longer body is its extremities can be longer as well, allowing for them to have double joints. Both of Sneasel's shoulders and elbows have ball joints, which allows for a wide variety of range of motion and posability. Both of Sneasel's feet are able to be rotated inward and outward, and both of Sneasel's hips are on ball joints, which allows for the legs to be moved outward and rotated backwards. With all this extra articulation and posability, you are able to get Sneasel into some pretty cool poses. Now that we have the Pokemon out of the way, we're going to be talking about the bases that both of these sets come with. We'll go ahead and start with the base that comes in Zubat's set. It's got a really small design, and because of that, there's not really a lot of room for detail. There are a couple of clips on the side here if you wanted to attach it to other sets or expand upon it. As you can see, the base is mainly tan and made up of a couple colors of gray. I do like the little leaves that are sprinkled throughout the set to give it a little bit of extra color. There's also this really obvious red knob sticking out of the side of the set, and we're going to talk about that right now. If we take the red knob and start to rotate it, you can see that gray pipe-looking piece will rotate along with it. And if we take a look at the back of Zubat, you can actually see there's a little hole here. This allows you to place Zubat onto that gray pipe-looking piece. Once you have Zubat secured, you can rotate the red knob and it allows Zubat to fly around in a circular pattern. And I think it's a cute feature and a welcome addition to this little set. Now we're going to be taking a look at the base that comes in the Piplup and Sneasel Snow Day set. This base is a lot bigger and has a lot more detail. You can also see this set comes with a couple clips on the side here. And if we continue to rotate along, you can also see there's this vine growing on the side. I do like the wide variety of color here. I think it makes it a lot more interesting than Zubat's base. And if you're enjoying the video so far, maybe consider giving the video a like and subscribing to my channel for more brick built reviews. As we continue to make our way along here, you can also see there's a couple of icicles here at the top of the base. And they actually have a little bit of movement to them as well. As we continue to rotate around, you can also see there's that same red knob sticking out of the side there, as well as a second set of those clips if you wanted to attach it to more than one set. We're going to take a look at the base from a top-down perspective, and as we start to pan down here, you can see there's a lot of white and light blue. I really like these transparent light blue pieces because they kind of have a little bit of a textured look to them. There's also the small circular base to the right here. And if we start to turn the red knob, you can see it allows that center piece there to rotate. It also hits those small spherical pieces, which allows the circular base to rotate as well. There's plenty of room to place Piplup and Sneasel on the base, and turning the red knob will just give them a little bit of movement. One of the things that I really like about this is Piplup's head hits the icicles, which allows them to move as well. Now we're finally ready to talk about this combination feature. Both of the sets have clips, which allows you to easily combine these sets. But if we take a look at the back of Zubat's set, you can see it hasn't combined it in a different way. Per the picture on the back of the box, we're going to take the Piplup and Sneasel set and remove the red knob. Once we've got that done, we're going to take the Zubat set and we're going to line them up and push them together. It's a relatively simple and straightforward process, and it isn't too difficult to get done. Once the sets have been combined, you can see there's this gap between the two of them here. I double checked the back of the box, and this is how they want you to combine these sets. Which I don't necessarily hate the way that it looks, but I do have a problem with it. Because of that gap, the only thing holding these sets together is the rod. And it's not super strong. As you can see when I rotate the knob, you can see the Pokemon aren't moving as fluidly as they were before. And you can see the Zubat set kind of popping off the table a little bit there. And again, that has to do with the weak connection. I also feel like all these Pokemon are a little too close together, and when you rotate it around, it just feels a little crowded and sometimes they get stuck on each other. I much prefer taking these two sets and combining them with the clips that are integrated into their design. This makes it feel stronger overall and allows you to move the Pokemon around a little bit more fluidly. But as you can see, there's still the issue of it being just a little too crowded. You can get the Zubat set for around $10 online, and you can get the Piplup and Sneasel set for around $15 to $20. So if you wanted to have these sets combined, you're going to be looking at about $30 to $35, which I don't really think is worth it. If I had to pick between these two sets, I definitely would rather have the Piplup and Sneasel set. Thank you so much for watching my review, and subscribe to my channel for more brick built content.